Guys, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, or my TikTok, whatever platform you're on. I want to talk about jealousy, envy, okay? And it's a natural thing in our, in our human self form, whatever. And I've been through a lot of this in my path, and and one thing is like, when you are, when I went through my healing journey and stuff like that, there was little things, you know what I mean? Like, oh, actually, no, I don't think that you would look at somebody, right? And you're like, God created you the way you are for a purpose. Let me just say that, okay? God created us all, you know what I mean? Like, and, I think jealousy forms with insecurities within self, and this is where the inner work comes in, you know what I mean? And again, I dealt with this a lot in my narcissist story, and anyways, and so I'm a real alchemist. I like to turn everything and my pain into power, and alchemize that energy, and again, you come across people, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a very bubbly, light person. I've always been, you know what I mean? And then I healed, evolved, and it's just stepped in more my empowerment energy, healed energy. And, even then, you know what I mean? Like, I always like compliment, for instance, women, you know what I mean? Like, when women has tendencies, and I seen this, you know what I mean? I'm not really like that because I did healed a lot, you know what I mean? Like, and even when I wasn't fully healed, I've always been a woman that goes out and compliments all the time, you know what I mean? Like, I like to empower women. And so a lot of things that I found out and with a woman with NPD, they tend to get really, really, just like a male with NPD will get jealous, envy spirit, you know what I mean? And again, those are things within us that we need to heal and insecure, you know what I mean? Like, and you should always be thankful for what God has given you within yourself. And that's where, we have to, go within ourselves, you know what I mean? And see that, you know what I mean? Deal with that, and again, you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much you looking at somebody else and saying, oh, God made a mistake. You know what I mean? And that's not true. I don't believe that. I pray for people that are unhealed, insecure, or whatever, that they would, heal and find a path and find to love themselves. You know what I mean? Because, that's a horrible, horrible quality. You know what I mean? And like I said, like I share, beauty and everything like that is, really on the inside. You know what I mean? A lot of, karmics or, female male with NPD, tend to, think beauty is on the outside and what materialistic things they have and all that. And that's not true. You know what I mean? And unless you're just looking, you're just looking for low vibrational energies or in and out, you know what I mean? That's your prerogative. That's you, whatever. You don't want to, you know what I mean? But if you're trying to be high vibration and grow and evolve, it's not about the outside. I'm going to tell you that right now. There's so much men that I've seen and came in my direction, and they were so nasty, or they're nasty qualities, you know what I mean? And even like the narcissist that I dealt with in my past, and it's so unattractive, you guys. It is so unattractive, you know what I mean? Like, and it's all about, what's inside, you know what I mean? And I talked to so many people, and I've seen so many people go through all this stuff like that, you know what I mean? Or again, they were in relationships, you know what I mean, that they were one way, and then they weren't that in the real life, you know what I mean? Or their true self came out and stuff like that. But really, 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 again, is with going within yourself, you know what I mean? Like, when you really love yourself, you know what I mean? Like, you're beautiful. Like, I radiate beauty, you know what I mean? Of course, we all have our insecurities, stuff like that in our life, you know what I mean? But I radiate, you know what I mean? And love and energy and stuff like that. And because I love myself, you know what I mean? I invested in myself, you know what I mean? I went through a lot of stuff in my life, and I'm just very, very, thankful. I learned a lot, and, learn to love myself, you know what I mean? And everything about me and who God created me to be, you know what I mean? And again, I broke those, you know what I mean? Like those generational things in my life, you know what I mean? Like, and I keep on healing, keep on evolving and stuff like that. That's why I'm able to see, because I have so much beauty on the inside, I'm able to radiate that to other women and empower them, you know what I mean? And again, a real beauty stands within, you know what I mean? And I talk to a lot of people, you know what I mean? Like, and men and women, stuff like that. And it's just very, very unattractive, you know what I mean? And again, I dealt with this, you know, and it's just, you know, it's not a beautiful thing, you know what I mean? Those are things, you know, that people project that they don't like about themselves, you know what I mean? And so it becomes jealousy, envy, you know what I mean? Like, and again, I dealt with this, and I alchemized that energy, and I turned that into something positive, you know what I mean? Like, and I pray, you know, I pray for people, you know, consciously that I know, and again, I just pray that they find love within themselves. I pray that they go inside within themselves. You know what I mean? Like, because that's a very nasty quality. You know what I mean? And again, you know, yeah, you know, and so you should never, ever, ever be jealous of anything or of anybody else. You know what I mean? You know, and if you're doing and you're walking and you're focusing on yourself and not what's everybody else around you, what everybody else has, God, you know, you will give you what is yours in your life. You know what I mean? Like, but if you focus on other people and, you know, you're out here focused on everything, you're not even focusing on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just showing you know, some people in this world don't know who they are. And so they tend to go and like pick, like, you know, look at other people and their qualities. You know what I mean? Like, look at yourself. You know what I mean? Look at you. Go in the mirror and look at your good qualities, you know? And for instance, you know, just a little tip. You know, you can look at it and say, wow, this is a very beautiful about myself. And that's the first step, you know what I mean? Take one thing and give yourself a compliment every single day if you are dealing with this in your life, okay? Or you're looking around, you get that jealous enemy spirit. And normally those are spirits. We fight against spirits and principalities in high places, okay? And so you take that one quality, find something, okay? Or you could ask people, what's one quality that I really do have? And then focus on that. And then you get that and speak that into your life, okay? And watch, things are going to start changing, you know what I mean? And you're going to start feeling more beautiful about yourself, you know what I mean? And you're going to learn how to really genuinely love yourself. And it's going to turn into more, you know, and then you just take another thing and another thing and another thing. And you turn that focus on yourself, you know what I mean? And again, you know what I mean? Like in a male, depending on how you use male man and female with NPD, tend to have that jealousy spirit, you know what I mean? And again, it's not what's on you. You could have you know, I've been around so many people, like, you know, those, and we see everywhere, you guys know, and the entitlement energies, it's just gross. Friends, relationships, stuff like that, you don't want that, you know what I mean? Like, and but anyways, and, you know, God, you know, is amazing, you know what I mean? Like, and again, just something that is within people, you know, and that's their own things that they need to look inside themselves with, you know? Like I said, I spent 15.5 years investing in myself and healing on this journey, you know what I mean? And I went a lot of things and I looked in the mirror and I said, oh, I don't like that, or I don't like this, or, you know what I mean? And I worked on that, you know what I mean? And then until that was done, and then I worked on that, and then I worked on that. And then I kept getting more and more beautiful, and my qualities kept getting more and more stronger. And, you know, and that's things you could do, and you know what I mean? Like, and so, but yeah, they tend to, you know, have that jealous envy spirit, you know what I mean? And instead of, you know, going within, they're like focused on everybody else, you know what I mean? And so we should be focused on ourselves, you know what I mean? And learning to love and nurture ourselves, because we're all beautiful, and I believe that, you know what I mean? Like, and, you know, again, I pray for those that were or has any jealous or envy, you know what I mean? And, you know, you just pray that, Lord, that they find themselves, you know what I mean? And they finally learn to love themselves, you know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, I want to share that and say, God bless you guys. I'll see you in my next one.